are 100% healing. There's no kind of like, oh, why are they telling me to do this? Like, you know, and there has been times where I don't listen because I'm a human, and then I regret it, right? So anyways, I'm working with this woman, and she's terribly, what's the word? Commingled. Her energy's commingled with her ex-husband's. And, you know, as it would be, right? They just separated not long before. And he had applied for, I forget the exact number. It was something like 125 or 175 jobs or 145 jobs without anyone responding. And I asked permission and sort of, you know, may I go in and work with just his higher self? So I went in. So I got a yes, a very strong yes. And usually when I'm asking, it's already a yes. It's kind of like the ask is them giving me the direction. Like, I can't tell the difference between me and them at this point. It's like we're sort of in this together, and I'm holding my hand and they're sending energy through it. It's sort of like happening just that quick. So I go into his higher self, and there is an intrusion in his field, and it's old. It's a very old one. And I just get whatever information I get, right? And then I trust whatever I get. So I'm not going to tell you the process, because if there are new practitioners, like, leading up to being able to do this work, I was in a 12-month program where I had learned all of the safety protocol, everything that I studied and prepared for to be able to do this work. So I know how practitioners are sometimes. I tell them this, like, you know, sort of the sizzle reel of something, and then they start using it, and then I hear them teaching it, and I'm like, that's not exactly, you have to have the whole foundation before you can kind of know this, how to do it. So anyways, yeah. So the very next day, lands a job offer. Energy shifted, noticeable, physically noticeable, when she came home and said, hi. And he's like, I don't know what happened, but I feel different. And the next day, he got a job offer. So, yeah. And I don't know, like, are you gonna know that that's that? No, I understand that there's not like a paper trail, right? It's not science, is it? Right? But this has happened so many times. I can't even tell you, where there is something stuck and they come in, and then within 24 hours, it's changed. I cannot tell you how many times, but I have just a couple more stories. Because I could just go on. And I'm like, why don't I tell the stories of what happens in sessions? So this other woman, a dear friend, close peeps. I won't say too much, but this is different. It wasn't an entity, which I think a lot of times we think there is one, right? So, or an intrusion. It's not actually called an entity. It's called an intrusion. So they went to a voodoo practitioner to save a relationship, and for 3 days after the session, they felt totally disrupted and not good, and they were like, something's on me, or I have a curse or something. So I instantly went into her field, like, you know, over the phone, and it was like there's nothing put in her field from this modality, which I don't know anything really about voodoo, except maybe like in New Orleans, they wear cool clothes. Like, I mean, I love New Orleans, but I've never really researched voodoo or what it is and stuff. So anyways, I'll just jump to the cut, which is, we got on the when she came in for her sesh, we, it was basically a fear that there was it was a scary treatment. It was a very dark, scary treatment that seemed actually pretty powerful, but it was more of like the aftermath of the fear of it and the thinking of it. And there was nothing planted in her field from this healing. So I was really glad to also share that story, because it's interesting that, sometimes it's not anything like that. Usually some of the symptoms of it being an intrusion is that you're lost in something, or bad things keep happening that seem repetitive, that aren't necessarily, there's other layers, right? Like, some of the work I do is more on the subconscious level when we're doing a self-sabotage mechanism. That's different, and I have a different technique for that. But when it is this, you need a certain technique, right? So then the other one I wanted to share was me. And I was having a dark time. And I went in for healing with my teacher. And the minute I dropped in, I heard and saw it right by my head as like this almost like whirling dervish of fear around the topic of why I was in the healing. And yes, so it was sort of interesting that like even with all the work I do, like during that time, it was scary, it was dark, and I was being consumed by this thinking pattern and thinking that it was legitimate, which is where this stuff is kind of scary when we just think like it's not. I have a fundamental change from being a happy, lucky, go lucky person and lucky to being really upset about something. And we actually sometimes believe it's circumstantial and we should be upset. And that's the scary part, rather than seeing like, oh my gosh, it might be me or something like this, like, an attachment of sorts, or, like to be able to recognize that, I think is one of the things that's really coming up for me right now, is like, oh, that's really important to be able to be like, even with the hormone work, which I'll do another video very soon, like when I was having mood swings, I didn't notice it until Isaiah made fun of me. He's like, oh, you have a flip out about once a week now. And I was like, I do? And in that moment, like, I didn't realize. I thought I was, being upset for good reason. Like, I was like, so, okay, let me see if there's anything else. Oh, yes, I did want to sort of debunk something. So I heard recently that someone's been saying that they're in a healing with like a bunch of people, and they're like, oh yeah, I remove demons all the time, and I did one this morning, and like making it very dramatic. And so demons, like, I don't know, it's so crazy that I'm even talking about this stuff, but okay, so a demon is like a much more powerful group of these like wayward, kind of gnarly energies, and it's turned into like a bigger force. You would never, I repeat, please listen to me, tell someone who's doing this kind of stuff or speaking these kind of things, like, you would never go in alone to work with a demon. You would never. Okay, this goes back to like the Catholic Church and exorcisms and stuff. Like, this stuff is well documented. There are nefarious energies, like there are, and you go in with a team of trained professionals, okay, and you don't handle that lightly. That's not like a morning coffee thing, and you don't tell people about that in that way. Like, it's very different. Like, it's if you're going to be removing things from people, you're removing intrusions. If you're working with something larger, oh geez, we have it on my computer, then you should be accessing a whole team of people. And yes. So I don't really know what else to say there without like getting into like the nitty gritty of what you do. But I really would say, if you have a strong feeling about something like this, then reach out to someone like me. I have these programs that I do. And I'm also, you can come in and just get one session and get these things off of you. Yeah, I have a special right now, and it's pretty easy work. We can do it all over Zoom like this. You'd be lying down, relaxed, and you'd come out of it feeling quite well. It is all light work and all protected. And yeah, and I also have in person. If you can come in person, it's nice too to do it that way. So yeah, I'm definitely happy to help, and also just answer questions if you need guidance, if you have things like this going on. So yeah, I hope that was a good explanation. And I don't mean to diss anyone who's like doing demon work, but like, I think that the language matters, and I think we don't want to like put fear into we don't want to add drama to it. It's not like, yeah, I think that it's very delicate work. It's very important work and very subtle. So I think, yeah, like anything where we're helping someone, we want to be really cautious and smart and grounded when we do this work. So, yeah, let me know if you have questions or you want to try a session. It is a shamanic healing session, and basically we would work with your higher self, and we work with your spirit guides, and they would design what's going to happen, and we would go in with a series of questions and things that we like to work on. And some of my clients, I'll do a separate video. We do what I call negotiations, and we go in and we connect with the higher self and have a discussion about what's happening. I have 100% success rate with, it's so crazy. I can't even believe I say these things. Like, I'm like, who am I? Like, how is this my life? But when we go in and have those conversations, and my mother taught me this one. So yeah, I've been doing this stuff since I was little. It's so cool. But you go into the other plane and you have a conversation, and then you come out and the relationship's changed. So that'll be another video, and I have a bunch of cool stories of doing that work, which is game-changing, absolutely life-changing. So it's like, what's the word? Mediation, but from the energy plane. So I love you for listening this long, and yeah, I'm going to be doing more videos. So let me know what you'd like to learn about in addition to this.